Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
I am ready for the event.
Sweetness. KSTP TV, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Tim Sherna with KSTP TV. How do you hear me?
Hello, Tim. I have you loud and clear. Welcome to the International Space Station.
Hi, Karen. Minnesota says hello.
Hello to everybody in Minnesota.
What are your responsibilities? What's the job up there that you're doing this time around?
We have a lot going on. There's, of course, right now the space station is mostly built, and all of us like to spend as much time as possible on science. So that's one of our major jobs. But of course, we have the daily activities of maintenance, keeping the station up and running, just like you have maintenance in your home. And we also have visiting vehicles. We've had a number of vehicles come and visit us and bring us cargo and supplies. And so we spent a lot of time unloading the cargo and loading those vehicles with trash. And during our increment, we had a couple spacewalks where my crewmates went out to repair some things and change out components outside. So we've had a lot going on.
I have to say, nice hair. What's life like in zero gravity? Is it fun?
It is a blast. And actually, after being here as long as I've been here now, it becomes a little commonplace, the way everything behaves in space and the way you move around. And it is fun. It's awfully fun to start at one end of the space station and try and get going as fast as you can and swing around the corners using handrails. And you can have a lot of fun.
So you guys actually do get between the long schedules of work?
We do get some off time. We usually work daytimes about 7 in the morning till 7 at night, or during the weekdays, and then we have weekends mostly off. We do some housekeeping on Saturdays to keep the filters clean and the walls clean. And but Saturday afternoon and all of Sunday usually is free time where we can do whatever we want.
I went and looked at your tweets. You've sent some amazing pictures back down to us here at Earth, on Earth. Do you ever get tired of the view out the window up there? What are some of your favorite things you've seen?
You never do get tired of it. You know, actually, every time I'm working out on our resistive exercise device, it's right below the cupola, and my workouts generally take a little longer than they need to because I'm constantly going up to take a peek. And there's so many beautiful things. I love to see the mountains, white snow-capped mountains are just incredible to see the depth of them that you can see from this altitude. And it's amazing. The Earth really is a lot of water. You start traveling over oceans, and you just wonder if you're ever going to get to land. Sunrises and sunsets are absolutely incredible. I could watch those over and over. There's just a lot of spectacular things to see.
I looked at your current orbit, and it appears to me that you're between South America and Africa right now. When you're flying over North America, if you do over home, do you look down and the folks here in Minnesota, the folks back home in Vining?
I do. I like to. We actually haven't been over a daytime pass of the United States in a while, but I think our orbit's going to start taking us there again. The first time I was able to see my hometown area in central Minnesota was pretty special, and that was a couple months ago now, I believe. And I actually got a picture of the lakes area where I grew up, and that was pretty neat to see.
I have to ask you, a legend has it you can see the Mall of America from space. Is that possible?
Gosh, that's a good question. I don't know. Perhaps with binoculars or a zoom lens on your camera. I'm not sure about with the naked eye.
You know, clearly you're an inspiration to so many young men and young women around the world, but here at home in Minnesota. What would you say to the boys and girls here back home in Minnesota who are students? What message would you have for them as they're in school and trying to figure out what they can do and what their potential is?
Well, first, just it's important that every kid knows that they have a lot of potential, everybody, but everybody has different skills and talents, and everybody has different interests, and there are so many opportunities and so many things that these kids could be doing, and all you need to do is figure out what it is you like and work really hard at it. And it's going to take you far, especially in school. When you work hard, even if you're not a straight A student, if you work hard, your teachers and others can tell that you're working hard. And if you're getting the best grades you can, you're going to go far, and you're going to be able to do a lot of different things with your life.
When you think back to your childhood in Minnesota, in Vining, is there a Minnesota memory, anything you can think of that was the beginning of the inspiration that helped you get where you are right now?
I don't know. I decided that I wanted to be an astronaut when I was pretty young, and I don't honestly know exactly where that thought came from and how I decided that that's what I wanted to do. But certainly the education I got, I went to a very small high school, and I think that was very good for me. Academic-wise, we didn't have a lot of the classes that students that I started in college with had in other schools, but I was able to catch up very easily with that. But being from a small town and going to a small school, I participated in everything that I could. I played on all the sports teams, and I was sang in the choir and played in the band. And I think if I had been in a large school, I probably didn't have the abilities to do all of that. And so I think for me, it was very advantageous, and it taught me teamwork, being on teams, playing along in groups. So I think that part of it was very, very beneficial for me.
Next time you're back in Minnesota, back in the state, what's the you want to?
I'm sorry, you were broken up. Can you ask one more time?
Next time you're back in Minnesota, going back home, visit family, or what's the first thing you want to do when you come back here to Minnesota?
Well, I always look forward to going back. I grew up on a lake, East Battle Lake, and my parents still live in that same house. And I don't know the last time I was swimming in that lake. And that was obviously something that I did every single summer, day in and day out. And so I'd love to do that again. Of course, have to time it the 2 months out of the year or whatever it is. That's a possibility. But and I'd like to be able to take my son and have him go fishing like I used to do off the dock and that sort of thing.
We can't see your feet right now. What's holding you in place?
I'm hanging onto a handrail with my toes as we speak. And if I let go, I will float away. So you actually use your feet a lot for translating. In fact, I'm developing calluses on the tops of my feet. But that's just kind of a difference of living in space.
If I could ask you for a little visual treat for zero gravity, could you spin your microphone or something that just shows us some of the magic of where you are right now? Do you
or
have
I could
any
spin
idea?
Myself.
Do you have any idea how cool that is?
It is cool, and like I said, after you're here a while, it kind of becomes commonplace, and you almost forget just how neat it is. So I wish everybody could experience it.
We have a minute left. In that minute, if you could tell us, what do you look forward to when you go back to Earth as far as, like, for example, do you miss gravity? What's something that you miss when you're up there?
I think gravity is going to be my enemy for a few days or a few weeks or maybe even a couple months when I get back. But I miss my family, my husband and my son. I miss them dearly. So I'm really looking forward to getting back to them and to my home.
Well, you can't see me, but I'm waving goodbye. It was a great thrill to talk to you. Thank you so much.
It was great to talk to you.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Karen, that concludes the KSTP TV portion of the event. Thank you. Mike, please stand by for a voice check from the Big Ten Network.
I love the event. Station, this is Rick Pisa with the Big Ten Network. How do you hear me?
And Rick, I hear you loud and clear. This is Mike Hopkins from the International Space Station.
Great, Mike. We're just about to get started.
Perfect.
And Mike, this is Houston ACR. If you could please turn your microphone off after you answer.
We are happy to be joined by Howard Griffith, one of Mike's former teammates at the University of Illinois. And Howard, since Mike is now at the International Space Station, let's not waste any more time. Let's welcome in Mike Hopkins from the International Space Station. Well, Mike, let's give the folks a little bit of background. I know you left from a cosmodrome in Kazakhstan about a month or so ago. You're supposed to be at the ISS until spring of 2014. What is life like for someone when you're aboard the International Space Station?
Well, it's absolutely incredible, and even today, I've been here for about 3 weeks, I guess, now, and I still have to pinch myself because sometimes it's hard to believe that I'm here. And it takes a little while to get into a normal routine up here. You know, we're working from about 7 to 7 every day, Monday through Friday, and so on the weekends as well, we have to clean up, and then we get a little bit of free time usually on Sundays, maybe to watch a little bit of football. But you know, what's really amazing about up here is you're just floating around, and that's an incredible experience, incredible feeling.
Mike, what was it like when you first entered the International Space Station?
Well, actually, it was a little bit overwhelming, and to be honest, my gyros were still spinning a little bit from the launch. When I first got up into microgravity, into the space environment, I felt like I was falling, and like I was sitting on the ceiling and falling. And when I first got into the space station and we had our chance to talk with the families, I actually felt like I was leaning on my side like that. And so it took probably about 18 hours before that feeling started to go away, but absolutely incredible feeling.
So talk to me about some of the experiments and some of the science that you're working on while you're there.
Yeah, actually, there's quite a bit of science going on the space station right now, and some of it we're very involved in because we're the guinea pigs. So, in fact, this morning I was drawing some blood just to see how the immune system in the body changes in microgravity. Other experiments I was also working on this morning was a capillary flow experiment, which is looking at how water flows up the walls of different vessels, and maybe you can use that to move liquids around in space and also separate it from gases. And so those are just a couple of the hundreds of experiments that we're doing or that are going on up here on a daily, weekly basis.
Now, Mike, your job obviously makes you very unique in terms of former Big Ten football players and what they're now doing with their life, but I know you stay in touch with the Illinois football program. I know from your Twitter handle, @AstroIllini, you sometimes send out messages to current and former Illinois players. How much do you actually get to still follow your alma mater when you're up in space?
I'm actually very fortunate. In fact, all the astronauts are very fortunate up here, is because we have a large support organization on the ground that helps us stay in touch with our families and stay in touch with the organizations that are important to us. And so I actually get the Illinois football games are sent up to me every week, so I don't get to see them live. But while I'm working out, I usually get to watch them.
I love it. The fact that he's in space and he's still working out, Rick, that's incredible. What are some of the things you do during the off time when you're down on the Saturdays and Sundays besides watching Illinois football?
Is there anything else? No, actually, it's a good chance for us to catch up on. It's a good chance for us to catch up on emails. We can take a lot of photos, or more opportunities to take photos that we may not have during the week because we are busy inside with experiments and just taking care of the station. And then it's a good chance we get to talk to the family. And so once a week I get to talk to Julie and the boys, and it's very special because it's actually a video conference, so you get to see their face.
Well, how much fun has it been, particularly for your boys that are young, growing up, seeing their dad on the International Space Station and having a chance to communicate with them? I guess they're the most popular kids in school.
Well, I like to think they're the most popular kids in school because of themselves and not their dad. And as you can imagine, the kids are very busy right now. I've got one in high school and one in junior high, and so they keep pretty busy with school and sports and church, and so sometimes the days go by and we don't have a chance to talk, and so it's very nice to catch up with them on the weekend.
Mike, when did you know that this was something that you wanted to pursue, not just aerospace engineering and your studies at Illinois, but when did you actually know and feel like you had the possibility to be part of an astronaut class that was going to spend time in space?
Well, I actually decided or knew that I wanted to try and be an astronaut back in high school, even before I went to the University of Illinois. But you never know if you're going to have that opportunity. You have to get a little bit lucky. Things have to fall into line for you, and it just happened that it did for me, and I feel very blessed, feel very fortunate to have this opportunity to be here.
You know, you had a very interesting defensive back coach, Coach Bernstein. Are there any lessons that he taught you that you were able to use going through life to get you to where you are now?
Absolutely. In fact, the coaches, Coach Bernstein, Coach Tepper, Coach Makovic, all of them had a big influence on us. And with Coach Bernstein, I think was certainly, he had a certain fire about him, a certain drive about him, and that's contagious. And that certainly helps when you're trying to pursue something that sometimes can be tough to reach.
You know, Mike, I always think back to our times at Illinois, particularly when we were on the practice squad and we were getting banged around. We were kind of the practice dummies for the guys that were starting. And the one thing that always stuck out to me about you is that you continued to go out and play as hard as you could. And we knew then that you were a special player and would be special to the University of Illinois, but had no idea that you'd be able to really accomplish what you have now. And I just want to tell you that you've truly been an inspiration to all of us, including, the people around the world. You inspire a lot of us, and we appreciate everything that you're doing for the country.
Well, Howard, I'm not sure if I remember you ever being on the practice squad, but yeah, it was. It's fun just to be a part of it. It's fun just to be a part of a team like that and an organization like that, and around guys like you. I mean, one of the things I always wanted to be when I grew up was a professional football player, and so. Hats off to you and the other guys that made it to the big leagues, and that's very positive influence to be around you guys.
Colonel Mike Hopkins joining us from the International Space Station. Colonel Hopkins, thanks so much for the time, and enjoy the rest of your time on the ISS.
Okay, thank you very much, and I just want to let you guys know that there's still a little orange and blue up here, if you can see that.
We love it, Hoppy. We love it.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes the event.
Thank you, KSTP TV and Big Ten Network Station. We are now resuming operational audio communication.